Alright, ranked here at number 7 is the Storm bait and switch. This is the curly tail minnow in the darker shad color. Here's the neon paddletail, about the same size. These work pretty good in the creeks for smallmouth, but tends to kind of not really work as well as the other lures that are later on in the video, so that's why I have it ranked last. Here are the smaller ones. Here's the paddletail, little silver shad color. Purple here. And green sparkles. These work pretty good, but not as good as the later lures, so that was number 7. Here's number 6. It's just a Flippin Tube. This one's a little lengthier. The neon green strings and brown color. It's heavily salted. This works pretty good for smallmouth. A lot of them, bigger ones, hit it, but I have it ranked at number 6 because every time I get a fish on, it usually gets off, so I never really land many with it. Just a lot hit them. So what you do is just rig a jig head, or you can Texas rig it from right here. This works pretty good, but I miss a lot of them on there, so I have it ranked at number 6. Flippin Tube. Alright, here we have the Mr. Twister. This is a very reliable lure. I have it rigged with the jig head, a little bit brownish to yellow color. This is a lure that will catch you a lot of bass, pretty much just about everything. You can catch bass all the way to walleye, muskie, pike, you name it, you'll catch it with this. Over here is the double tail, and it has little strings on the top. I think that gives it away to catching a lot of fish. Just rig it with a jig head usually, or you can Texas rig it. You can reel it in or jig it. I usually just reel them in and still catch a lot of bass, but this thing kills. And that is number 5. Alright, here I have the X-Wraps. Rapala X-Wrap. These things literally just kill bass. They represent a kind of like a dying minnow type movement, which smallmouth pretty much just devour anything with a minnow-like movement type lure. And it has a little rooster tail pretty much on it. The treble hook, I usually take off the front hooks because that reduces a lot of snags. But this thing kills bass, also having a smaller and lighter blue color. But these things kill the bass right there. It's a very good lure to use for smallmouth. Number 4. Alright, here at number 3, one of the best lures to use for bass, the Banjo Minnow. This thing literally is a very real life movement. This one's a pretty big one. This one mainly for largemouth. See how you hook it? I'm missing an O-ring right there, but you put an O-ring right on the front and the back of the hook so it doesn't come off, and then you just bob it up and down. It has a dying minnow movement, even more than the X-Wrap, and it literally attracts the bass. If you can't get them to hit on any other lure, you put that on and it's going to hit. I'll guarantee it. Here's smaller versions in different colors. And this one doesn't have eyeballs because the fish hit it so hard and so many times that they just fell off both sides. Here's another smaller one. But this is one of the best lures to use for bass fishing. Banjo Minnow number 3. Alright, number 2, the Slugo. You can Texas rig it, or you can put a jig head on it like I have, I just put the jig head on it because it's a lot easier and saves time when you're just trying to change lures real fast. I usually cut it right here in the first slit so it's smaller and the smallmouth down at the creek can hit it a little bit easier and I can catch more fish that way. But this, whenever you jig it, wow, I was surprised how many smallmouth I caught on this. They literally devour these slug-os. Either way you rig it, it's still going to work the same. Definitely a great lure. This has caught so many bass for me. I have a million of these things. That's why, because I catch them. Number 2, almost to number 1 here. Alright, finally, the number 1 lure that I use that catches the most fish and attracts the most fish. The Crawdad crankbait. This is a wheat craw right here. This is a bigger one. It'll catch you river smallies. Usually you can use these in rivers or depending on the size of the bass that are in a creek that you fish at. This is a deep diver. These things, the bass just love crawdads. Just eat them all up. Here I have tied on to my fishing pole is a smaller one. You can get the deep diver, which has a bigger lip, so swim down deeper and get down to them smallies that are down the holes. But these things, Rebel Crab crankbait, this one, and there's the wheat craw. But this, I caught 12 bass, which is in my last video. You can go check that out. But right here, the lure that you should use to catch smallies. Definitely one of the best lures. Alright, make sure to follow me on Instagram for pictures of the fish that I catch on video. And thanks for watching.
Bass King.